it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Well, I've got an exciting new kit to share with you guys today. Actually from a brand new company, in fact, their very first model kit that they're producing. And I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. It's VOIIO. It's V-O-I-I-O. And in fact, in my last video, when I did the review on it, I thought it was V-O-L-L-O, but it's actually V-O-I-I-O, so I believe VOIIO. And their very first kit they've come out with is the M1A2 SEP version 2 Abrams. And the version 2 SEP A2 is one of the newest ones online with the United States Army. It's a beautiful, beautiful kit. Not very high on the part count, so we like that. We can actually build it in a couple of days. The quality and the fit were excellent on this kit. And as you can see right here, it builds up to a very, very nice model. The retail in the United States, I'm hearing, is going to be about $50. So that's a fairly inexpensive kit for great quality. Had a lot of fun building it, and if you want to stick around now for a few minutes, you can watch how the whole thing goes together. I think you'll be really impressed with it. So, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off building first the back of the tank, where we have to put on some lights, some light guards, things like that. All kind of little minor, easy to put together things that all just kind of slide into place. One thing I do want to show you first are, because this piece is, we'll pop that off first, this was all slide molded, so all these louvers are in there, and there are some really fine grates that you need to cut out on this this kit, and I would definitely recommend getting some of Tamiya's really super fine sprue cutters, because you've got to get, and hopefully we can show you on this, got to get in there real tight and cut each one of these little individual pieces, because it's some real fine work, and you don't want to end up breaking off any of the edges on it, because these are going to get glued on there and you want to have them all complete. So we're going to go ahead and get those all glued into place, and there's only just a couple of other little pieces that we need to glue onto the back deck here. Okay, so we have a bathtub style hull, as you can see on here, and we have all the suspension arms. All the suspension arms are the same for the main portion right here. There is an extra long version one that has a shock on it that we just cut off. I have to do a little cleanup on it. But each one of the suspension arms is notched, so you can only put it in one way. Clicks into place there. The road wheels, which I've just started to assemble too, you glue a and B side together. There'll be a little hub that'll go over the top. I glue them together and then start sanding all the little marks off in there. So we're still in the process of doing that. So all of this is going to be very, very easy and straightforward. Just a matter of going down the line, putting each one of the suspension arms into place, and the two return rollers up on top here, and finally putting part of this piece in. We'll glue this into place, and that will be for the drive sprocket in the back there. So rather than bore you with all that, I'm going to go ahead and get all of this part put together, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, we're probably about 45 minutes into it now, and we've got all of the road wheels, drive sprocket, all these little braces that we've glued into place here. These are the ones that are hold up the side skirt, which we will leave off even when the instructions, tell us to put it on, which is actually coming up pretty soon. We want to be able to leave that off. That's going to make painting much, much easier inside. You'll also notice too, we've left off the clear hubs on all of these things because we want to be able to paint those, and those smoky clear hubs need to be smoky clear at the end. So rather than trying to mask, we'll just leave them off for right now. Now, that being said, the only other thing we need to do is attach the rear plate here, which I've put a little bit of cement on there, so that should hold that into place. And that is pretty much the entire lower hull. It's pretty much assembled now. The next step we have to start working on are the tracks, which I've just quickly glued a set together just to show you guys here. Most of it is going to get covered up by the side skirts, and that's also too, we're going to be able to take the tracks off the vehicle to paint those separately and weather them if we need to. So what we'll do now is we're going to let this back engine plate dry a little bit more, and then we will start working on the upper part of the hull. That'll get glued in according to the instructions next, and there's just a few little parts that we need to put on top of that. I do like the way that the upper hull is done with the anti-skid already in place. It looks to be like a decent scale thickness as well too. So, and this will just slide right on top just like that. And you can see it goes together pretty quick and easy. So we'll go ahead and start attaching the rest of these parts and cutting off these little nubs as well there too. And I'll show you how that all goes together. Okay, we are starting the upper hull, and first thing we have to put together is the tow bar, and they've included inside these little micro pins here, as you can see, that you can actually make the tow bar work if you want. And I'm going to just glue mine together because we're going to just have it stowed on the very front of the vehicle, but it is nice that they give you the option that all that can be made workable if you desire. Okay, as you watched me do, I just put on some of the parts on the upper part of the hull, and now we can go ahead and glue the upper and lower together. There's a couple of pins and holes that we just need to line up and then snap that and glue that into place. Also, you watch me put the hatch on here. We didn't attach the hatch at all because we want to be able to go back later on after we paint and put the periscopes in. And we probably could slide them up through the whole opening here in where the turret goes, but it's just much easier just to leave that separate and then we can put it on later. Now there are a bunch of little pieces like the light guards that we need to put on, which they go like this. So those will all get glued into place here after we put glue on them. And then we can also go ahead and attach the tow bar that we started building as well. The final thing we also need to do is there is photo etch included in this kit. And actually it's already open. And we need to glue this piece and this piece right back here. So I'll go ahead and get all that done. So just some minor work we have to do. I'll go ahead and start putting that together. You'll also notice too, I've started to take apart the barrel, cut off all the parts and clean them up so we can start building that, because the next step after we get this all attached is starting to work on the turret. Okay, I got the body glued on and all the other little parts. Body fit really, really well together. Very tight fit, no gap or seam in the back here. And now I'm basically just going to show you how quickly and easily the barrel goes together. They've designed it in such a way that you can only put it on the right way basically. So flip this around, that'll slide in there. The barrel is 3-part slide molded, and I've done a little bit of sanding. Got to do just a touch more sanding on it, but we just want to show you how it goes together here. So that'll slide down there. This will, and there's a groove on this as well too, so you can only put it on the right way. And spin this. Oh yeah, there's the groove inside too. There's a groove up on top too, and you can hear that just click together. And finally, the machine gun barrel is also slide molded, so we can glue that in there. Although all these pieces are so tight, they actually fit together without glue it. I mean, of course we are going to glue it up. And then there's finally just a few other little pieces that'll make up the rest of the barrel assembly here that we'll glue on there. But that's it. So I'll take these apart and actually put some glue on them and finish doing all my sanding. But I just thought it was so nicely designed the way they've done this. I think that'll make it really nice that this is all slide molded, because without it, it's kind of a pain trying to get rid of any of the if it's 2 parts, getting that seam all the way down here is always tough. Okay, just real fast, I thought I would show you the assembled barrel. And when I was showing you go together quickly before we put the glue on it, I'm looking over the top of the camera to film as I'm going, and I didn't realize I actually had the bore evacuator on upside down, because the machine gun barrel is supposed to be on facing the vehicle, the left side of it with the bore evacuator on top. But this is how it looks together, and so you can put this on upside down, but if you're looking at it and you're paying attention, there shouldn't be any problem with it. But a really nice barrel assembly once it's put together. Okay, with the barrel assembly all done up, we can now attach the lower and upper part of the turret and put the gun in place. Now the instructions kind of just say just drop this in here, and this part fits in here fine, but getting the top on is a really difficult process. In fact, it's almost impossible because there are a couple of grooves inside here. Hopefully we can show them to you right in there. And what you want to do is you want to put it through the top first, and if you follow this instruction, just line those grooves up in here with the circular pattern here. And hopefully I can show you this. Camera's a little bit in the way, but you just slide it up like that. Slide this in there and it'll fit perfectly, and then of course you can go ahead and attach it to the bottom and that'll lock it into place there. But without doing that, it is very, very difficult to get inside there. So just trying to line it up and slide it into those grooves. Okay, we're just cleaning up with some fine sanding sticks here all the little wire work that goes for the baskets on the side of the turret. We've gone ahead and attached the stowage bins right here, and these are going to fit right on the outside here. This is one time too when we were talking earlier about the Tamiya extra fine sprue cutters, and these are item number 74123. I always get that question quite a bit. These are a godsend when it comes to getting into these tiny little areas to cut out the bends or cut out these little nubs inside there. Getting regular sprue cutters to fit inside that is really, really difficult, whereas these will go right in there. They've got a fine little point to them. Take the part right off, and then you can just clean it up with the sanding stick. So if you don't have a pair of the real fine ones, I would definitely recommend them, well, not even just for this kit, for a lot of different kits that have all those little fine connection points. Okay, we've got quite a bit of the turret parts glued on, and now we're just attaching some more of the other accessories that go all over the turret. Now I've built up the back basket, the bustle racks here, and I did it off camera because it's a lot of little fine work getting in there, and having a camera in front of it is sometimes kind of a pain without messing it up. So this will just slide into place right here. We'll glue that on after we get a few of the other pieces. I thought I'd just show you. That is the set of the instructions, so you can see how it goes together. The fit was really strong on it. We had no problems putting it together, and you can see that it'll just slide right onto the back of the turret once we're done. Now we've also got a few other different antennas that they give you a couple of different options on. I'm going ahead and putting these on. I think these look better, these bigger heavy-duty antennas. And also, once we get this glued on, there is another unit here that'll get dropped into place on the back in the bustle rack here as well. But I'm going to go ahead and get this glued on right now, and as you can see, we've also got a few of the other items on here. There are a few, like this piece that was the clear plastic. I'll have to probably go back later on, and after we get this all cleaned up. And as you take a quick look at the rest of the turret, you can see we've got a lot of the other accessories on here. We haven't done the commander's cupola yet, and the rest of the crow system that'll go on here, but we'll work on that in a few. So I'm going to go ahead, get the bustle rack glued into place, and then we'll come back and start working on the the commander's cupola and the crow system. Okay, now we're just assembling up the parts that make up the cupola, commander's cupola. And it is a workable piece, so you just got to get pieces lined up here. Just like that, and then this can get glued into place in a second there after that's done. You'll also notice they put the anti-skid around the ring around top here. There are three little attachment points. just a matter of getting those lined up too. Put some cement on those. Actually, we can do that right now. And these are the last couple of parts we need to assemble other than the crow system, which I've also started to assemble the machine gun for the loader side. I've left all the glass out of all of this, including the cupola in here, because obviously we want to paint this up and then we can just pop the glass in later on after we're done up with that. And this will slide in here. Move this over in here, and then we can just place this in here now, because like I said, we want to take it out and be able to glue the glass in from the bottom. Now, this portion right here we had to glue into place. There was no other way around it. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get some masking inside here, and then we can paint over the entire piece. So I will start working on just the last couple of parts of this kit, and then we will go ahead and do some cleanup on it, and then put a coat of primer on it. Okay, well here is what the model looks like. I'd say about 95% complete. And there's just a few other little accessories that we need to put on. What I've done so far is we've just put the side panels into place just to give you an idea what they look like. They have not been glued in, and that's why this one's kind of popping off a little bit over here. We will glue those on once we get the tracks into place. Also done things like just put the machine gun here in place so we can paint it separately, but the crow system is all complete and ready to go. Also keep in mind, I almost screwed up on this. This little piece right here, this is the machine gun belt that goes from the ammo box to the gun. That little piece is on the same sprue, for lack of a better word, as the tracks are, because it is a rubber piece. So I threw mine away, but luckily I was able to find it in the trash and just did not notice it when I was pulling the tracks off. So keep that in mind. Make sure you keep that nice and safe so you have a way of hooking it up to the machine gun. We can leave this off right now. And we've also gone ahead and put like the ID panels on, all that kind of stuff on it. Now, what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna turn the turntable on so you guys can get a little 360 view of the entire tank. Now also, we've gone ahead and sprayed the entire thing with Tamiya's gray primer. And couple reasons. I mean, you don't need to prime the tank unless you actually want to. I did the gray primer because the type of plastic that is on here, it's the type that when you sand it, it kind of looks rough, even though the plastic's smooth. For camera view, it's much easier to show it in the gray primer because it gives you a better idea what the quality of the kit looks like. You can really see the texture show up on this. I think it looks really good, and just all in all, a very nice kit. As you saw me build it, I should say. You saw that everything went together real well. The fit was nice and tight. Nice photo etch. We still have to put the glass in, and we'll do that right after we start painting it. Okay, as you just watched, we've gone ahead and painted the entire model. It's base color, and for that we used the Mission Model Paints US Desert Tan Modern, and I think it came out really nice on there. We also did a little bit of the other touch-up stuff. We painted like the gun and glued that into place. Painted it a black color. We've also installed like the orange lights and installed the glass inside the Commander's cupola as well. Now I've got the rear tail lights all painted up. We're letting those dry before we put them on. That's why they're still on the sprue right here. Also, it does include some water bottles, which are going to be kind of cool for this as well. So we've painted the entire model, like I said, and we've dull coated it with Tamiya's TS80, completely lacquer coated in all of the paint job we have on there. And once, actually now that it is completely dry, we can go ahead and start doing the decals. Now they give you a rather large sheet of decals. In fact, here are the decals for the Avion and Nestle's water bottles, which we'll definitely put on some of those. Probably just going to do kind of the basic stuff right here. We're going to use some of the markings here, as well as anything else that comes up that we call for on it, and then maybe like this Cobra King 2 for the barrel, something on it. It's always cool to have a little barrel decal on it as well. I don't actually see anywhere where the big giant American flags. I like having those big American flags. It's even if I don't put them on this kit, I definitely will put them aside. So now that I actually know that this is completely dry, it's been setting up overnight, so now we can go ahead and start putting the decals on. Okay, I'm not going to show too much of the decal work. Just basically we're going to put a little mark fit down to get the decal to adhere. And I just also want to point out too, the decals are all made by Cartograph in this kit, so they're a really high quality decal. Get that as straight as possible. So yeah, that's how all the decals are going to go on. I think they're all going to stick really well because they're Cartograph. And then of course, once we get done completed with it, we are going to go over the entire model again with another coat of dull coat. But this time we're going to use testers because the Tamiya dull coat, the TS80, can eat through the decals. So we want to use a clear coat that's not so hot, so it won't dissolve them at all. Okay, we've got the vehicle all sealed with the dull coat. Now I'm using some enamel wash, German vehicles, dark yellow. Basically, it's a dark brown wash. And we're gonna go over and just start highlighting all of the anything that sticks out on it, basically. We're also going to use at the exact same time this sand yellow deposits. And this is a wash, but it also has a pigment inside of it. So we're gonna kind of blend the two together, kind of randomly, just wherever we think that there would be dirt. And we also want to stain the side of the vehicle, having it come down. And it goes on a little bit dark, but as you blend it in, because you want to every once in a while dip your brush in enamel thinner, kind of thin it out, and make it go down the sides here and stain up the sides as if dirt and stuff is getting all over it. And it'll dry a lot lighter, and you'll be really surprised to see what a nice dirty, dusty effect, I should say. So it's just a matter of going over it and just pulling out every one of the little highlighted areas here. Any of these little bolts and nuts, and just makes everything pop. And then after we're done with all this too, we will go over it with some pigments as well to give it some more desert sand effect. And I just keep randomly going back and forth between the two colors. And they kind of blend where they touch up. So I am going to go ahead and finish up doing this. Got the entire vehicle we have to do, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like once it's dry. Also, we want to do all of the lower areas down here as well. This is really going to make all the bolts pop out. And we've already sprayed a light little mist of like a dust on down here to kind of darken up the tracks, or excuse me, dusty up the tracks. And now we want to pull all the detail back out, and we're just using the dark yellow right now wash, which is that dark brown, and it's going to make all of these little bolts and stuff pop right out. Okay, now we've let all of our pigment and washes settle in and dry, and now what we're going to do is to blend everything together. We're going to use a little XF57 buff in the airbrush at about 12 to 16 inches away, and we're just going to put a light little mist coat on it. That's going to blend in and kind of soften some of these areas that are a little bit too strong of a dark color. So this will kind of give it like the dust has settled on top of it. And here we are. Here is our completed model. As you can see, we went ahead and used the XF57 buff and put a nice little mist coat, and it kind of blended everything together. Also did all of the tracks as well as the rubber, so it puts a nice little dust amount on it. And you might even notice up on top there we threw a couple of the bottles of water as well as the bottles of or fuel tanks, excuse me, in the back there, the cans. Now, as for the fit and finish, like I was saying earlier, the kit went together very, very well. No problems with fit. There was a low part count, so this is something that you can actually build in a matter of a couple of days. It's not one of those 1,000 part kits that some of them are out there. Those have a place, but this was nice refreshing to do something with a low part count. Also, there's some other details that I didn't point out to you guys earlier. Even little things like here, as we come around, there are like the serial numbers that on the real tank would be, 3D, and they've actually molded that. And there's actually a bunch of spots that they've done that on, so some nice detail work. So I want to thank you guys as always. And as for the retail is supposed to be $50 to $55 in the United States is what I'm hearing, and they are available now in China, and they'll be making their way over to the United States, and I'm sure the rest of the world very, very soon. So keep on the lookout. I think it would definitely. God, I screwed that. Okay, and the kit has a retail of $50 to $55. I'm not actually quite sure yet, but I've heard it's going to be in that area. The kits are out in China, and they'll be making their way to the United States as well as the rest of the world very, very soon. So be on the lookout. I would definitely recommend this kit. It's just a general all-around good kit and fun to build. So I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.